Have you ever heard a story that's so simple, yet it completely changes how you see things? Well, today we're jumping into one just like that. It comes from ancient China, and it's all about three monks who taught one of life's greatest lessons. And they did it without ever saying a single word.
Now, when you think of monks, you probably have a certain image in your head, right? Well, forget all that. These guys were different. They didn't have a temple. They were wanderers, always on the move, without any of the usual stuff. No monastery walls, no possessions, no rigid rules.
And get this, they didn't give sermons either. No lectures, no trying to convince people of anything. Their whole approach was, well, it was something else entirely. Something way more direct, something that anyone could understand instantly. Their only teaching was laughter. That's it. Just pure, simple laughter. It was their whole philosophy, their entire message, their gift to everyone they met.
Okay, so let's really get into who these monks were. Picture this, three guys just wandering from town to town, totally carefree, no shoes on their feet. And the one thing they brought with them everywhere, this amazing, contagious laughter.
And we're not talking about just a little chuckle. Their laughter was this force. It was deep, it was full of life, like the kind of pure belly laugh you hear from a little kid. It said that when they walked into a village, the whole vibe would just change. All the sadness, all the complaints, they just melted away, replaced by this incredible wave of joy.
So you can imagine, people were fascinated. They'd come up to the monks and ask, "What's your secret? How are you so happy all the time?" And the monks, they wouldn't say a word. They'd just look at each other and then burst out laughing all over again, like the question itself was the most hilarious thing in the world.
But even without words, their message was crystal clear. What they were saying was this: life is for living, not just getting through. Every single moment is precious, and you shouldn't waste it on being angry or worried. Their whole being was a sermon on joy. But then, the story takes a really interesting turn. One day, after a night of celebrating and laughing with the village, one of the monks, he just passed away in his sleep, peacefully. They say he even had a smile on his face. Now, this is the moment where their whole philosophy gets put to the ultimate test. And the reaction couldn't have been more different. The villagers, well, they did what you would expect. They were shocked, they started to weep, but the other two monks, they started laughing. And not just a little, they were laughing louder and more joyfully than ever before. It was this incredible clash between mourning and celebrating, a total collision of how we see life and death. The villagers were just completely confused. They asked, "How can you laugh? Your friend is gone." And that's when the monks finally spoke. They explained that their brother had achieved what they were all striving for, this ultimate peace. He lived with joy, so he left with joy. Why shouldn't they celebrate that journey? For them, it wasn't an end, it was a graduation.
This whole idea comes to a head at the funeral. This is really the peak of the story. The villagers are getting ready for a traditional, somber funeral pyre, but it turns out the monk who passed away had one last joke up his sleeve.
So, just imagine it. The whole village is there, it's quiet, it's respectful. The funeral pyre is lit, the flames start to rise, and then something absolutely wild happens. All of a sudden, boom, the fire just explodes with color. We're talking bright reds, blues, sparks shooting everywhere. It turns out their brother had stuffed his robes with firecrackers before he died. And in that one moment, seeing this incredible, hilarious spectacle, the whole village, they just burst out laughing. Laughter mixed with tears. It was beautiful.
That was his final sermon, wasn't it? His last perfect joke on the world. He wanted to make absolutely sure that even his death would make people laugh. They say it was the most beautiful funeral anyone had ever seen, just the sound of pure joy echoing off the mountains.
So, after all that, what do we take away from this? What's the real lesson here? The legacy of these laughing monks? Well, it's really about a huge shift in how we think about things. They teach us that happiness isn't something you go out and find. It's something you create, right here, right now. They saw that every single breath we take is a kind of miracle. And that laughter, that's the most honest prayer you can offer.
So that's the first big takeaway. Stop chasing happiness like it's some prize at the end of a race. The secret is to create it, just by being fully present in whatever you're doing. When you really live in the moment, joy just shows up.
And here's another thing that's so powerful. The monks weren't laughing because they had easy, perfect lives. Not at all. Their laughter was an act of courage.
It was a choice they made, every day, to rise above any sadness and choose joy instead.
And finally, this story shows us that joy is contagious in the best possible way. It's not like a piece of cake, where if you give some away, you have less. With joy, the more you share it, the more it grows. It creates this incredible ripple effect that can light up the whole world, one laugh at a time. So next time you're feeling a bit down or the world feels heavy, just try to remember the 3 laughing monks. Take a second. Take a really deep breath. Let yourself smile. And who knows, maybe you can let a little bit of that laughter rise up. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Seriously, when was the last time you truly laughed? I mean, a deep, from the belly laugh, not because something was funny, but just for the pure joy of being alive.